Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ComixKings. This is Brandon.
And this is Bryce.
Welcome, everybody, to Weekly Wrap-Up. This is our weekly comic book show where you guys can also find us featuring a guest on here to plug their work. Also, make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel, all of that good stuff. It really helps out a lot. By the way, you know that's free, right? So, if you guys want to support us, hit that like, free, subscribe. It's free. And turn on that bell. Again, it's free. You'll just get notifications when we go live. We are moving the show to Sunday because we have prior commitments on Fridays. However, you can find an episode of Archives coming out every Friday, which is a brand new show that we're launching, which is going to feature not only members of the community, other members that we're kind of bringing into the brand. So everyone that you're going to see on Archives, what it's doing is it's going to be a show where anyone can lead it. So, I'm not always leading Archives. Bryce wants to talk about a book. He can review it, break it down with a couple other people, part of the brand. He can do it. But we're going to have other people on as well. Like you guys saw Brian from Captain Rec Comics. He will be on. He'll be, when he wants to. He can lead a deep dive. But we have people coming in the works. And that's going to be a lot of fun. So you guys can look forward to that every single Friday. Bryce, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Nothing much, man. Doing good. Started classes this week, which is one of my prior Friday commitments.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, it's been a pretty light week so far. I don't anticipate that staying like that for very long, but enjoying it while it lasts.
100%. School is there. Our normal fall activities are there. Football is back, so there's a lot of stuff to really get going. Shout out to the chat today. Chat is popping today with everybody stationed, everybody here today. Good to see you guys. Darth Timo, have not seen you here in a while, brother. Hope you are doing well. We got Travis in here. And to everyone who got nominated for the Comic Community Awards, congratulations. Well deserved to all of my friends who got nominated. I'm super proud of you guys. Keep doing that good work. Keep doing it, putting out your content. And if you guys do want to drop a comment of what you've been reading this week, what you are most excited for, make sure you do that. Travis is reading Rick and the Divine, Volume 4, fantastic book by Karen Gillan and Jamie McKelvey. It's a great read, so make sure you guys definitely give that a binge. If you are looking for a new indie book, you can read it with Travis, which is great. But other than that, one more house cleaning project. I believe Tag Team Thursday is still going on. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to check with the gang on that. But we are having Rom V on the show September 9th, which is a Friday. Which is going to be fan-freaking-tastic. And then we're going to have Terry Dodson and Matt Faction coming on later in the month, followed by Tyler Kirkham. And then we have a huge lineup in October, which I have yet to announce. John is here. What's going on, John? John, it has been a minute since I've seen you in the chat.
What's going
Robin,
on?
Superman, Son of Kal-El, Wolverine, Kib Reloaded, Die, something. It's Killing the Children, all read this week.
Awesome.
We're going to get into some of those books.
Also, Brandon, not to correct you, but I just want to clarify for everybody in the chat, just so they're not showing up on the wrong day. September 9th is a Thursday, so I'm
sorry, it's the
September
10th.
Okay.
Sorry, the 10th. It's a Friday. I know it's a Friday.
Okay.
I'm horrible with dates.
No, you're good, man. You're good. I just wanted to make sure, anybody in the chat that wanted to catch this awesome interview with an amazing comic book writer,
right,
showed up on the right day.
Yes. Friday. Well, let's dive into the books because we read a lot this week, and we have a guest coming pretty soon. In about a half hour, we're going to find Michael Conrad on the show talking about Wonder Woman, also a Midnighter issue. So let's dive into the books. Bryce, what did you read this week?
Well, I read Robin issue number 5.
Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about Robin already?
Let's just we're going to start high and then we're going to end high.
All right, let's do it.
So Robin is written by Joshua Williamson, typically drawn by Gleb Melnikov. Is written by Joshua Williamson.
You're on my iPad too. Yeah, you're on my iPad too, and I didn't realize.
Oh shoot, I don't like that. Yeah, last issue was drawn by Jorge Corona, which I liked, but it's good to see Melnikov back. The tournament is getting ready to start. We saw Ravager die in the last issue, and she was the one. Everybody needed to die once in order to have the tournament begin. Ravager dies. She was the last one. This is basically the lead into the tournament. Sheena, that is a terrific excuse. Normally I wouldn't condone this, but if you want to go keep watching puppy videos and then come back later, I wouldn't be mad.
I would be, but I would also
I wouldn't
tell you to send me them.
Like, yeah, we don't want you to leave, but I mean, if that's where you're going, like, it's understandable.
Do it.
But this is basically the Robin reunion, so to speak. And this has me, if it's done well, this will have me hyped for the Robins miniseries coming up in November.
I am extremely reserved for that miniseries coming up. I just don't have any faith in Tim Seeley as a writer anymore. I've given his books an abundance of tries. I have given this man every single try ever, but he's just constantly disappointing, and I don't like it. You know, he has experience writing the Robins. He's written Nightwing. He's also done some stuff with Green Lantern. He's done some Batman stuff with Eternal, but he was surrounded by other writers. I don't know. I'm not the most excited for his work anymore. To Be Quest was the last thing that I read. Or the Bequest, whatever it was, by J.H. Williams did the art. It was the Aftershock book, and that was just horrible.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm not excited for it, man.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. But basically, Dick, Tim, Jason, and Stephanie are all trying to get Damian to come home. Because obviously he ran away, he dropped the Robin mantle, and he really hasn't had much contact with anybody for a while. But who does have contact is Ravager and Red Hood. And that, I personally still think there's something going on there that might get explored.
Hopefully. I don't know. They didn't do anything in the Deathstroke book that Priest wrote. So
yeah, I don't know.
But this is Infinite Frontier, so anything can happen.
Exactly. And this isn't about Ravager and Red Hood. This is about Damian. We see some great dialogue between the Robins. It goes from making me laugh out loud to almost making me cry. And just, I don't want to,
the language that Joshua Williamson uses in this book is fantastic.
He's written all of these characters perfectly. With what Damian says to Dick, that is exactly how Dick would react.
Right.
It's like, that's just mean. And then we even see him exploit Jason a little bit, which shows that Damian is the most tactical of the Robins. He is the one that can use his experiences to his advantage the most.
Right.
He's not the smartest, but he's the most practical, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, obviously he's not the smartest. He's also pretty damn young to be a Robin. But also, what I really admire about this book is Joshua Williamson is able to balance humor with the storytelling. And then the whole rooftop chase was very exciting. And just like the use of dialogue. And the Robins is going through, right, the rooftops. That's really what we see in Gotham. That's kind of what they're known for. And that's it's fantastic that Williamson is able to use the dialogue in this book to really just tell this story about Damian Wayne, who a lot of people don't like, but he's gotten so much character development, and he will be a long-standing Robin.
I hope so. I've loved Damian.
Josh Williamson is taking over Batman.
He is on the shooting.
I know Philip. I know what Philip's doing. I just can't talk about it.
I think I have a little bit of an idea, unless it's something totally different than what I know. But
I'm excited. I'm excited for what Williamson's gonna be doing in the future. I'm very reserved on his writing because when he's on, he can be the best in the business. When he's off, when
he's on, we get this.
Yeah, when he's on, we get that. When he's off, we get his Justice League crossover and Death Metal, which everyone forgets about, which is great. Chaos in Comics, what is going on? Yeah, TM, check out my Tag Team Thursday video that we covered a few days ago on Thursday, obviously, where we talked about Joshua Williamson being the new writer on issue 118 with Jorge Molina, and the costume is looking a lot like the Batman Incorporated that Grant Morrison did when they started their run, and it's fantastic.
I'm extremely excited. Joshua Williamson tends to bring characters back to basics, So while I've loved what Tynian's been doing, I'm looking forward to a back to basics Batman for a little bit.
Right. I'm excited for that. I think we're gonna get a lot more gritty Batman stories. Speaking of a Batman story that kind of going back to basics, we have the ending issue of the arc in Detective Comics. This is 1042 by Markio Tamaki and art by Victor Bogdanovich. This is where Batman fights the Vile and Mr. Worth, who's kind of a worthless character. So what's going on is Worth's daughter died. He's blaming Batman. He's blaming Bruce Wayne. He's just pissed at the world. He teams up with Penguin, and they kind of trap Batman into this new mysterious character called the Vile, who infects people with fear, which is like the Scarecrow, but not the Scarecrow. It's kind of like a ripoff Scarecrow. And basically, Batman got infected with the Vile. And so Batman's trying to like lash out while he's still trying to like take down everyone and save the day, kind of clear his innocence. Now, Batman is broke, which they want to remind you every 2 seconds. But the art in here is phenomenal by Victor Bogdanovich. I would have liked to see the Vile get a little bit more attention. Huntress is in this book, but really it's just one punch and it's over with. Worth gets canned, and Batman is able to really overcome the fear because he lives with it every day, basically. Yep. So I thought that was great because Batman didn't really go over the limit. Meanwhile, the Vile is still there-ish, but Batman just stands up and walks away to really end the issue. So we're still investigating what's going on, but we're going right into Fear State. So there's not really much story. They couldn't really tease anything after. They're really not setting anything up. It's going to be a brand new arc following. So Dan Mora, I believe, is coming back to the book. I do love Victor Bogdanovich's art. I have not been sold on this book. I liked it up until the part where the Vile just got taken out in one punch. Because I was like, yeah, no. Like, you're going to build up this character, this new character, just for them to get taken out in one single punch at the end of an arc. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, we're going to see more of this character, but because they got taken out so easily, I don't care to see it anymore. I just don't. But the art's phenomenal. I'm sticking on here because the art is so gritty. And it's a great compliment to what Jorge Jimenez is doing over on the main book.
Yeah, this book kind of, I don't want to say it lost me. I needed to not double dip, so I ended up dropping this book. But even then, the fact that Detective Comics was the book that I chose to drop, it wasn't doing much for me. And it sounds like it's still kind of just pitter-pattering along a little bit.
Right.
Whereas the main Batman book has an overarching epic story to tell.
Right. I also want to shout out Bryce because he will be on Travis's channel over on Chatting with the Comic Community this Wednesday. So Travis, if you want to go ahead and drop your own link because you're a moderator, go for it. And make sure you guys sew up to Travis over on his channel so you don't miss Bryce. Also, make sure you guys follow us on our platforms. We're also on TikTok, or I'm on TikTok. Just made some content today. But just want to take care of that. And we have a special guest coming onto the show, as we mentioned earlier. Everyone, let's welcome back to the channel, Michael Conrad. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, not too bad, guys. I stayed up late last night drinking, so...
Oh, nice.
Hey,
I'm a little slower than normal, but baby, we back in it. Let's go.
Oh, dude.
I have coffee today because I did drink a little yesterday too. So cheers.
Yeah. Don't
my high quality H2O.
There you go. Best tasting water on the planet.
Orger brand.
You should say happy birthday to me. You should say happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yes, we spoke a little bit.
Happy birthday, Michael.
Yeah.
Birthday the other day.
I'm full grown. Becky gave me the gift of she's visiting family this week. I was supposed to go with her, but my ID's gone, so I couldn't go with her. You can't fly without an ID, apparently. So whatever. So I'm flying solo today, but part of the reason that I'm glad to be here is we get to talk a little bit about the Midnighter Annual that's coming out this week. It's been a kind of a long road building up to it, and we're super excited to finally bring this like final chapter in the form of a 40-page chunk rather than the 8 pages that you've been getting in the backs of Action Comics. Yeah. Yep.
Right, which has been a phenomenal story. If you guys are not checking that out, make sure you guys are all showing support to Action Comics by Philip Kennedy Johnson, it's a great story, which is enough said.
Philip,
but also, The Midnighter is fantastic too.
Thank you so much. Yeah, the whole book has been like, it's incredible to write something, and like you're just happy to have it there, but to have it be part of such an important, super cool, fun thing to be reading with like, for me, it's like, dang, like this really has renewed an interest in Superman. And I never I'm not like some people who like fell off of Superman or anything, but it's just made me like more driven and more like when it shows up, I'm like, hell yeah. Because I talk to Philip sometimes, but like we don't usually talk about like what we're doing with our stories. We just kind of, hey, how's life? And this and that. So I'm reading it just like everybody else and loving it.
Right.
But yeah, it's been super cool to be there for that, but also to get to work with Michael Le Von Oming and with Taki Soma, who like when they got put on the project, initially I was like, I don't know, Midnighter's like so weird and violent and over the top. I didn't know how it was gonna play, but the minute I saw a couple pages from them, I was just blown away, and I think it makes like the violence and the weirdness even weirder. Like when you see these like monstrosities that Midnighter and Mr. Miracle have been facing, this really like kind of true cartoonist element leaves a lot in the imagination. It makes you kind of fill in the gaps. And I think if we had somebody who is doing more like highly rendered art, it might come across as like less creepy than it could. So
it looks like a big kaiju fight when the action scenes are happening, which I absolutely dig.
Well, hopefully y'all dig this final chapter. It's definitely like the most over the top bombastic one that we've got, and it'll answer a lot of questions I think that people might have developed in the court. I never saw it as a super complicated story, but we do understand it's convoluted. We're dealing with like tech phobia and cultists and time travel, and any one of those things can be like enough for a story. And doing it in 8 pages for so many months, it's been like, oh man, I just want to like
tell a tale.
I want to take a moment with. So that's definitely what we've done with the annual, and it's sad to finish a project, but we're super proud of what we've done. Right. We think that when people pick up the annual, they're gonna feel like they had a full meal, and that'll be cool.
100%, man. And then you get to go on to bigger and better projects. You get a Comixology exclusive come out a few weeks ago, which was fantastic, which you guys should definitely check that out if you want to talk about that as well.
Double Walker's there. It's been performing really well. It's on Comixology. If you've got an Amazon Prime account, you can read it for free. Same with if you've got like a Kindle or Comixology Unlimited, you can read it for free. Otherwise, it's like 133 pages for $7. So I mean,
you can go wrong there.
So that's Double Walker. Super proud of that one. Was teamed up on that with my buddy Noah Bailey, who I did a book previous to this called Tremor Dose, which will be in print in November from Dark Horse. And so we're looking forward to people that missed it in the digital realm being able to pick up like a real copy of it from their local shop. But yeah, we're super excited that people have like given our weirdo books a chance. But some of this stuff, it's like people that like Wonder Woman are gonna like read Wonder Woman, and if they don't like it, they'll complain about it. But they're gonna keep reading Wonder Woman in part because they like want to complain about it. It's
or because they can't not pick up Wonder Woman. Like for me, I'm not enjoying the Spider-Man ongoing right now, but I'm still picking it up because I like Spider-Man. Because I can't live without picking up the Amazing Spider-Man.
Isn't that like that's like it's like a disease, you know? It's once you become invested in a character, I get it. Like people that don't like what we're doing, like I get it. Like I hear you, but like you know, you can't either stick around. I mean, like if you got the bug, you're sticking around.
Right.
Hopefully you find something in it that works for you. And if you don't, then you'll have a lot of fun complaining about it on Twitter, and I'll see it and feel bad.
Well,
they're still talking about the book either way.
Yeah, exactly.
They're still getting the word out, still getting that attention. You're still getting your money's worth of it. But this was the penultimate issue of the first story arc, if I'm not mistaken. What do we have to look forward to? Because we're going to be talking about this book in a little bit as well, kind of diving deep into it if you wanted to take care of that right now. But what do we have to look forward to in the last issue?
I mean, we've done a lot of different things with it, and hopefully people who have been reading have kind of seen like how we've approached it, which is it starts out kind of slow. When Wonder Woman was in Asgard, it took a couple issues for her to remember who she was, to rediscover her powers, to find her voice again. A lot of the stuff that people had concerns about early on. It's now changed to other concerns, I'm sure. But we got to visit a lot of cool places in 778. You see like, oh, everything's like ramped up now. Now she's like going from being in these afterlives to being in the multiverse, which to me, hopefully it's communicating, okay, she's getting closer to home. And she's getting closer and closer and closer. And in that issue, it moved so fast. She went through like 4 or 5 different settings. And we're really looking forward to, in the wrap-up, explain, again, just like with Midnighter, there's some questions that people have been asking. If we've done our job right, there won't be any questions to ask. It'll be all about like, okay, what comes next? You know, like I feel served by this story, and what comes next. I don't think it's spoilery or anything like that to say she's 80 years old this year. In October, it'll be her 80th anniversary. So of course we'd kind of like to have her back home and to show a Wonder Woman story proper, where she belongs and she's out there doing her thing. And fans of like Steve Trevor, that old guy, who have been like really
that prick.
They've been concerned about how Steve's gonna get treated. They're gonna know real soon what Steve's been up to. It's been a long time.
Right.
The love of his life has been away.
And in the arms of someone else.
In the arms of another dude.
At least in Action Comics, he's trying to start a war with Atlantis.
That.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna show some stuff with Steve. And then there's tons of big news with Wonder Woman that's gonna follow hot on the heels. But this next thing that we do, because we did this like 9-part like epic length thing that was maybe inaccessible to some new readers, like unless you jumped on at 770, if you picked up 774 or something, you might be like, I have no clue what's going on with her. The next arc that we do is going to be significantly shorter. It's going to be like a 4-issue in and out, just wild over the top romp, and showing what I love about Wonder Woman so much is her ability to kind of determine how she's going to handle fighting crime. Like Batman's got a code, Superman's got a code. Wonder Woman, when handled by different people and when dealing with different obstacles, she's like you or I. You know, if you think somebody gets the velvet glove, they get the velvet glove. If you think they need the iron fist, then you're dropping a gauntlet on them.
Danny Rand. Oh, just kidding. Wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Wonder Woman's code, it's always been very situational.
Yeah.
And so that's always what's interested me about her is you don't know from one issue to the next or one arc to the next who lives or dies when they face off against Diana.
It makes her pretty unique in regard to like her greater family of the Justice League. On the Justice League, you kind of know like where everyone's moral compass is pointed, and with Diana, she could flip the script and kill a fool in front of her homies who she knows like are opposed to that kind of thing. She's like that willful that she's able to kind of ignore that peer pressure and do her thing. So that'll be exciting to play with and to show off and to just get her back home, do some cool stuff at home.
Right, and she's also very emotional. She feels out of all the Justice League members, I feel like she feels the most. That's kind of something we ran into in the Robin issue, is addressing that. And feelings can be very powerful. They can be very motivating for a character like Wonder Woman. Due to her situation, I could totally understand how some consequences are a little bit more severe depending on how strong her feelings are being pushed.
Totally, and I think that's an important quality to show that feelings can be an asset and they can also be a real hindrance. If you become emotionally involved in, we all know this from having played sports or whatever. Like once you get too hot, upset at the other team, that can show up as you like really bringing it home, or it can screw up the rest of the game for you and you never pull it together. And I think it's important to show heroes having those similar like very human moments of being able to channel like, oh, I'm angry, I'm using this anger for a good cause and in a very effective way, but also like flying off the handle and screwing up as a result of it. So we oftentimes we get pressure one way or the other. Some people are like, Wonder Woman's perfect, she's always got to win and blah blah blah. Then we get other people who are like, I want to see her lose sometimes. We don't listen.
Spiderman.
Yeah, we don't listen to what people want. You know, we listen to what our hearts tell us and what our editors say about our wild ideas. So hopefully we can keep surprising people and we can keep it fun. Comics are meant to be fun. They're meant to be an escape. But also there's room to explore real human dynamics and real like pain and exploring that pain in a way that isn't complete drudgery and complete suffering to read. So yeah, we're excited about where Wonder Woman's going. We think the stuff that we're working on right now is the best that we've done yet. And we've at this point we've done a lot of Wonder Woman, and it hopefully will be around for a good long time to keep figuring it out, man. It's a riddle.
100%.
Oh yeah.
It's very exciting to read this book, especially because Wonder Woman wasn't a character that I really dove into. I've always wanted to get into Wonder Woman, and I've read a bunch of Wonder Woman. I kept tabs on a lot of stuff in the Rebirth. I read a lot of what Steve Orlando did, who also did Midnighter a while back. And that was kind of my favorite Wonder Woman at the time. I never really got into Rucka's. I never really got into G. Willison's. I never really got into Robinson's. Azarello's, I don't want to talk about, but
oh Lord.
But
I think it's all about. Yeah, well, thank you. I think with Wonder Woman, there's so much about her that is subjective. You know, it's about what your relationship is with the character, and what we hope to do is kind of by starting with this, not with a wiped slate or anything like that, but we wanted to create an opportunity where, you know, if she's in the afterworld, she's dealing with this stuff, when she comes back, it's going to be very much like a redefining moment.
Right.
We don't want to do anything that's going to alienate the longtime fans who have enjoyed various iterations of her, but we're absolutely intent on providing something that feels different, feels new, while still familiar.
Right. Now, when she comes back to Earth, how will that relate to what's going on in Infinite Frontiers timeline or continuity?
I can't say. I can't say.
All right.
It's definitely it's important to the great picture, but it is very much an insular quality of being like, you don't have to know about Infinite Frontier to know what's going on in Wonder Woman, but absolutely there is like there's a trickle down effect or whatever term you want to use for it. They all hold hands with each other. And for people who read like The Line or read like a big portion of books from DC, they'll understand Wonder Woman is absolutely one of the most important characters over at DC. One of the most important characters in comics, for sure, because she was the first like mainstream female character doing her thing. We're at a point now culturally where people are more accepting of female characters. There was a time when boys wouldn't read girl-led comics. We're beyond that now, hopefully. Find some wood and knock on it. So now the gender thing is never going to go away. It's always going to be a talking point with Wonder Woman, but we don't necessarily want to beat people over the head with it. This is a hero. Gender aside, this is a hero. Let's talk about what it looks like and feels like to be a hero, especially when you're someone like Diana who has this expectation of perfection placed on her from a lot of different directions, and she's clearly imperfect.
And I feel like that makes the best like kind of empowerment stories, and when you just attack it and tell the character's true purpose instead of forcing like, okay, we're answering politics, right? Instead of answering politics directly, it's kind of how you just bitter down to what you understand about the character, what you love about the character, what you want to tell, right? That's something that I kind of felt like the Black Widow movie did really well when talking about Natasha Romanoff's character. Wasn't over the top, like, oh, we're pushing that female agenda, pushing forward. But it was great. Please, and I love you to death.
Well, I think the females in comics are going to beat you over the head. I think that they're only going to become more important moving forward. The biggest and quickest growing demographic of comic readers aren't people of our gender. It's female and non-binary readers. So yeah, the days of a bunch of macho men pounding their chests and running around with women that don't even look like women, those days are gone. They're gone. I mean, unless you want to read some of these like wacky ass kind of throwback comics that are made by out of touch geeks who aren't allowed to work on regular comics anymore.
Ethan Van Sciver. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that?
Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot.
I just fucking nervous everyone. Will Wonder Woman be back to her normal outfit when she's back to Earth?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you consider a normal outfit. Like, she's worn a bunch of different outfits over the course of her career.
Outfit.
That's a badass.
For me, this has always been the classic costume, but
I don't know. I just envision the George Perez cover when I hear her original outfit.
So she's gonna be in an outfit. Yeah, she'll be in a Wonder Woman outfit.
Oh, it's Travis.
Kind of go against DC guidelines if she wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. We're gonna have her in other clothing sometimes too. Yeah. Oh, she'll wear a variety of clothing, but yeah, she'll have a hero outfit, and it'll be recognizably Wonder Woman. And hopefully it'll be the one that you like, because there's a lot to choose from, and we picked one that we liked and tweaked it.
There you go. And is Travis Moore going to be the mainstream artist going forward? Or are we going to expect Jill Thompson back? Emuela, don't know how to pronounce her last name. Super talented.
So Travis was like the principal artist for this arc. And then we went into double shipping. And Travis is believe it or not, a human being, and
Really?
most human beings cannot draw more than one comic in a month, which is part of why we had Andy McDonald and Jill and a variety of other cool artists show up and do their thing. Going into the next arc, I think everyone will be kind of surprised with what goes on with the art. I believe it's going to be the same artist for the entire arc. It's not going to be Travis. That's not to say that Travis won't return, but Travis will have a ton of stuff on the racks. So don't worry about Travis. It's not as if he's left destitute or he wasn't doing a badass job.
No, he was awesome.
There's just other stuff for him to be doing. He will be, you'll see him again very soon. Of course, with 779 and then 780, he does most of that one, which is going to be kind of a bigger issue. And then we've got a couple other things on the way that will feature artists that aren't on the regular series, but I think people will be really excited. I've got pages. I wish I could like show them to you guys. We've got some over the top stuff coming. Maybe I'll send it to you on the Slick, and you promise never to tell anybody.
Hey, we pinky promise.
Yeah.
You know, that's,
I don't think
it's funny.
Okay,
No, it's funny.
Tell
So
me.
I started talking to Joe Bennett a while back. I think it was exactly a year ago. And he was like, yo, so do you want to see what I was working on? And he sent me the original pencils for the Immortal She-Hulk. That cover. And he's like, don't show anyone. It was, I didn't. No one knew about it. But when it came out, I was like, and I showed my LCS. And like, when the book came out already, I was like, so I had, and he's like, where did you find that? I'm like, in my DMs. But
yeah, that's one of the best things about working in comics is getting to see how the sausage is made, seeing people, everything from their layouts to the penciling process. You see the huge difference that it makes when the colorist comes in and does their thing, which makes it makes it easy for me to remember when a comic comes out. Like, hey, don't forget to bring up the letterer. Don't forget to bring up the colorist. Don't forget to bring up these important people.
Tamara.
Yeah, which especially on an issue like this,
Tamara Von Ellen.
some of the stuff that happened in here, that very few colorists could make that work like Tamara did.
Right.
And so it's always
Sheena,
they're
you are our Wonder Woman. Sheena, you're our Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Tamara's incredible, and to see Travis kind of flex pretty hard and do like a couple different styles in a single book. I'll tell you what, for people who haven't read 778, like you might want to, like next time you're in the shop, just pick it up and flip to like toward the end of the book. There's a sequence where Siegfried, you can show it if you want, where Siegfried's running and fighting these bugs.
I think I literally just flipped to it. This one? It's
like my favorite. It's so sick. Like it.
Yep.
I get so excited looking at that. I remember like seeing the pencils when they came in, and I was just like, dang, this is like maybe some of the sickest stuff. I just want a comic where it's Siegfried fighting bugs for 40 pages.
Maybe
I never
over in the Alien book, since you know Philip
Oh my
Kennedy.
lord!
I'm just saying.
I noticed too. I don't mean to interrupt you, but did you mean for Siegfried to look like Tarzan?
we meant for that whole moment. So that was one of the few places where it's like there isn't a canonical location. This was a thing that we created. And it was really just me being a dork, and I threw it out there to Becky, and she loved it. I wanted like that like Tarzan Jane kind of moment, just because to me it's like that's a huge part of like sequential art history. We just made up a place where like, oh, it's prehistory, and had a good excuse to put them in scantily clad and have them run around and fight bugs. Originally, they were going to be woolly mammoths. I wanted a bunch of woolly mammoths running around. But Becky was like, we can't be making this guy draw woolly mammoths on top of Batmite and this, that, and the other thing. So I switched it to bugs because anyone can draw a bug. They're just fun to draw.
Yeah, only thing that was missing from that issue then was a soundtrack by Phil Collins.
Yeah, it was a fun issue, and it was one where you know, we knew that we were kind of taking a chance by doing so much in such a small space, but people responded to it well. People are like, "Oh, this is my favorite one in a little bit." So cool on that. And enjoy the compressed storytelling because we're about to decompress a little bit after this storyline, kind of get the pace down and be able to focus in on the characters a little bit more.
There you go.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, but you and Becky also have Batgirls coming up.
That's
correct?
right. Yeah, I think it's going to be in Batman 115, I think is where it's going to debut. There will be 3 Batgirls backups. There's 3 Batgirls, so 3 backups. And so people that are fans of Cass Kane and Stephanie and Babs, you're going to get served up. I've already got people complaining about it. They read the previews for it, and they think we're gonna do something that we're not gonna do. So it's kind of funny that people like form a big opinion based on 2 sentences that are meant to encourage your LCS to order heavy on something, and when it's like you're gonna capture lightning in a bottle with a couple sentences. I hope people show up for it. It's in Batman, you know.
Yeah, it's in Batman, yeah.
It's in Batman
regardless.
And I think I think James Tynion will still be writing it by the time those come out. It'll be like the last couple Tynion issues before Josh takes over, and it'll be sick. Again, this is a situation we got Jorge Corona doing art for it.
There you go.
The dude is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I cannot wait until you guys see it,
dude.
Now, is it just like the 3 kind of self-contained about each Batgirl, or is there going to be something culminating at the end of it with all 3 of them?
There's squad. It'll open up and immediately you'll know what's going on. Immediately you'll be like, oh dang, here we go. Here, like we come in hot, we come in swinging.
Motorcycle chase.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm overhyping it because like it's gonna be sick. Like people are gonna lose their minds over it. I'm like incredibly proud of the work that we're doing there. We're doing something that people have. There just aren't comics like that on the racks right now. So hopefully when people see it. They'll see you'll know immediately what we're shooting for, and hopefully it works. So
if it's anything like what you've been putting out, there's no doubt in my mind that it'll blow us away.
It'll work.
Yeah, we'll come on when it comes out, and we'll talk all about it, and by then we'll have even more news for you. So
there you go. Well, I guess you'll be coming back several times.
Awesome.
I'm coming back, baby. You can't get rid of me. We still got to do.
Price would kill me if I did that.
I would. I'd be like, he's out, so am I.
I love this show. I get to sit back and just relax at this point.
Yeah. Well, sometime soon we'll get me and Philip on here, and we can all talk about dumb stuff. Just not even talk about comics. Just talk about dumb stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Philip's an interesting dude. Philip's got so many like strange interests outside of comics. I'd love to just to get on here and just have us all kind of chop it up.
This is your home. This is like your second home. Mi casa is su casa. I think I said that right. I don't know.
Bless you. Well, thanks for having me, guys. I'm gonna get some food now.
Go for it. Enjoy the rest of that bottle, man. All right,
gone,
take care,
man.
It's gone. Oh, you got the England. There you go.
Yeah, it's they just now have started making them available in Texas. So
there you go.
I'm feeling myself. All right, guys. We'll talk soon.
All right. Take care.
Have a good night, Michael. See you later, man.
Later, Brandon.
Yeah, guys, that was Michael Conrad.
He said my name first. I'm kidding.
Make sure you guys follow Michael on Instagram. Everything's in the description below. Bryce, I can't believe you.
That was funnier than it should have been. Oh, man. See, we're already talking about dumb stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
Michael already got his wish.
What is this show? Anyway, guys, I read Something is Killing the Children, number 19. It was a badass book. If you guys are not reading it, then you don't know what a good comic is. It's by James Tynion IV. Art is by Werther Dell'Edera. And we are continuing to learn about young Claire. Okay, so this story is very art dependent. I feel like James is at a point where you can just let Werther just completely do what she does. The inking in this is so great. Like, you just see a lot of silent moments. Like, there are like 3 pages in a row where Tynion just wants you to observe what's going on and just observe the emotion that is getting involved into young Claire. Okay, so I'm excited. She sees her first monster, and then she's kind of dealing with that, and this is kind of telling that story. She has a dream. She wakes up with a knife, and we're just diving. I don't want to spoil this book because I never like talking spoilers in these because I really just want you to go support it. It's not like the big two where we can just talk about it and it's not going to ruin your experience. But this book is an experience if you're not reading Something is Killing the Children. There's a hardcover coming out soon that's going to be very user-friendly for you to do that. Because now you can read it when people are not chasing it for key value and reflipping it, which is not my favorite.
Or if you want to be like me, there are 3 trades out. If you don't want to wait, go ahead and grab them. I know I've been trade waiting this book, and it reads great as a binge.
Right. I've read it both ways. I've read it in trade. I've read it in single issues, and I'm probably going to read it in hardcover because that's how we roll.
Because you have a problem.
I have a problem, and there's nothing new.
Oh, man.
People are leaving, and when Michael left, he took a bunch of our viewers with him. Wow. Thanks, Michael. But
shoot, I'm only still here because I have to be. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I read a great book this week. Speaking of someone else we were talking about with Michael, read Alien, number 6.
Yes.
By Philip Kennedy Johnson, art by Salvador LaRocca, and one of my personal favorite colorists when he's on his game, Guru EFX, which he did a great job in this issue.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I really like this issue. I really did.
I really did too. It wrapped up that arc brilliantly. It also left me with a ton of questions, including one blaring one that we want to do spoilers for this one?
When Philip came on the show last time, he kind of forewarned us when he was here last week, or what was it, 2 weeks ago? I think
a few weeks ago.
It was a few weeks ago. So if you guys are a fan of this show, you guys watch the show, you know that we have Philip's been on the show, and he's talked about this book. He's talked about.
I actually think it was a month ago. He came on the Talk Issue 5.
Yes. See, we've been talking about this for a very long time, and it's all this first arc of Alien is all building up for this. As you guys know, this is kind of taking place in between 2 and 3, and we're seeing kind of more of a generational xenomorph as it progresses through time. We've always seen like that kind of the dynamic shift from the first movie to the second movie. Now we're seeing what's going on here.
Yep.
Why are we so spoiler happy? Well, because you don't read your books, so we can.
Gotta read the books, man. And we don't try to spoil a whole lot. If it's a popular title, then we'll be more liberal with spoilers. But at the same time, we really just want to make sure, if people can't afford to read all these books or can't get them,
experiencing it through our talkings or conversations.
You know what's going on.
Right. That's the whole point of Weekly Wrap-Up, is to give you guys the wrap-up of the books we read, the books that you may want to pick up, all the hot books this week, or even some books that you just are not reading but you still want to stay in the loop of because they're that bad.
Exactly.
We will tell you. Amazing Spider-Man, where are you at this week?
Oh, shoot. We'll get to Spider-Man in a sec, and it was amazing in a different sense.
Oh, yes. Anyway, let's continue.
But, yeah, so we pick up from the last issue where we see that, what was her name, Iris, had betrayed Gabriel and Bishop. And we're kind of seeing the fallout and the ramifications of that, the reasonings behind that, as well as what's going on with Danny. We know he's got one of the xenomorphs inside of him. And Gabe wants to get it out of him. He wants to save his son. He knows he hadn't been a good father, and he wants to save his son. Well, at the same time, there is a particular betrayal here that goes on. I won't spoil it in case you haven't been reading the arc, but if you have been reading the arc and just haven't read this issue, you're probably putting the pieces together. And we get an update on the Alpha. We see the Alpha make an appearance in all of its glory. I love this new Xenomorph character that Philip and Salvador have come up with. This is honestly probably my new favorite version of the Xenomorph.
Oh, the Alpha?
Yes.
That Alpha, oh my god, that Alpha's just creepy to look at, man. I love it.
Oh, yeah. And so we see him and Gabe kind of squaring off for a particular reason. Oh,
Let's see the Alpha. Wait, I there you go.
I don't know if that's the Alpha. I think that's like the leader of the.
That's the Alpha.
No, this is the Alpha. It's different.
I love how they're both next to Inferno.
Trust no one. But we see them kind of squaring off, and one of them doesn't make it out. And there are huge ramifications for that. Huge, like, this story will not be the same going forward. It almost reminds me of a darker version of what happened in Radiant Black. If you've been reading that, you might be able to put that piece together. But anyway, this trade is probably going to come out pretty soon. This is the end of the first arc. Go pick it up, read it, so you can be ready for issue 7, because it is only going to get better from here. Philip even told us when he was on here last time that issue 7 is where he really starts to take his story in a different direction that he wants it to go, and that ultimately he is ecstatic about. Like, this first arc was to get people introduced, but issue 7 and on is where he's really going to take off and do what he wants to do with this book.
Right. And Philip has been killing it. Philip has 100%. Been killing the game. Let's talk about Action Comics. 1034 by Philip and Christian Duce, who drew a fantastic story. I didn't realize this is a different artist at first, because he complements Danielson Perry very well in his flow, his style, his layouts.
Looked like the same colorist too.
Right. So Philip is building kind of Warworld, but in Earth's premise, because Mongol, who's located on Warworld, is invading Earth, and all of his slaves, and one of them kind of has that Kryptonian background. Not really Kryptonian, as we learned, but there's this artifact that Superman wants to take to send them away, that they're after. Superman's like, okay, let me take this off-world, so they'll leave. Okay? And Aquaman don't like that. Steve Trevor don't like that. So Superman is trying to make the decision to piss everyone off, but do what's best for his family and for Earth as a whole, whether Atlantis likes it or not. We got that? Good. One of the slaves who is in the Fortress of Solitude, it kind of gets not in the Fortress of Solitude, she's somewhere. And that kind of gets invaded by this guy who takes over her and controls her to do bad things. She takes the artifact that Superman took away from Atlantis while the super family's fighting, and goes to hold Lois hostage. I love this this double splash. I love this.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Yeah, that is Adriano Lucas doing the colors, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's fantastic to see this book progressing, and we're just wrapping up. This is, I believe, the penultimate in this arc, so we're definitely going to see a lot of shit go down in the next, and we're really going to see the whole world coming full circle, and Superman is going to go there, which we saw in Future State. I feel like this book is the only book that's really tying into Future State a whole lot. Okay, so if you haven't read it, it was a great story, and it's Superman in Warworld later, so we're going to see him end up here, which is, hey, Philip is really like talking to himself with that, which is great.
Batman's going into Future State a little bit.
Batman's going into Future State a little bit more so in, well, maybe because of the writer shift. I don't know what's going on there. I'm still a little hesitant. But if it's Joshua Williamson, obviously it's going to go in there in the first place. But and then let's just knock out the other Superman book that came out this week by Tom Taylor and John Timms. This is Superman Son of Kal-El number 2. This is a fantastic book. So John is taking over the mantle of Superman. That is the theme. because John is he's a young adult. He's a young adult. He's facing young adult type situations, going to college, how to deal with pleasing people. Not only that, he has literally the weight on the world of his shoulders now because Superman says, okay, I have to go off world. We know where he's going. He's going to world because these two books really talk to each other, which is a great thing in comics, which is great collaboration. So John watches this podcast called The Truth. We get introduced to this island called Gamora where people are trying to escape from. John ends up saving a boat there after he kind of ruins his identity in college. He tried to go to college, but there was a school shooting that he had to stop, so his identity kind of got
outed.
Yeah, it's like it reminded me of Dash from The Incredibles a lot, but a little bit more Superman in it.
Yeah.
But we really get to see a lot of heart-to-heart moments with John and his father, which we also saw a lot with Philip Kennedy when he was doing the Superman book, even in his Action Comics. So you can tell that these two writers are really collaborating to tell this very touching, motivating father-son dynamic that we have not really seen in John in his adolescence because he got aged up. They're making it work to where we're still getting a lot of heartfelt moments with these two characters while expanding both of them into their new roles in Infinite Frontier, which is great. Now is a great time to be a Superman fan, people. Or if not, this is a great time to get onto Superman because you have two distinct characters that are very similar, but also doing their two different things. So they're kind of going out here. They start close, but now they're kind of drifting as they're getting used to their roles and their current situations. Okay? The art in here is fantastic. So John ends up saving a boat of people trying to flee, and it turns out one of the college students that was vlogging as the truth with that was the guy from his college, right? So he's like, okay, so that's like his new Jimmy Olsen in a sense, if we're gonna compare that to a real life situation. But on the island of Gamora, they're pissing off the president because he technically saved his citizens and enabled their escape. So now he's going to suffer those consequences in the next issue. This book is fantastic. For everyone saying this was politicized. Comics are more of an escape. Comics are not really a way to get political. I don't think it was very suiting. When you take a character like Superman, you take a character like Captain America, there are always going to be those political aspects. I feel like nowadays people are mixing morals with politics. So like the morals of Captain America it's Captain America book, or the morals in Superman, what Superman stands for. Yeah. Right? Superman's attitude, the way, because he's able to look at the world. He's able to zoom out on the world, which is something that we can't do. Right?
Yeah. No, morals and politics those are two totally different things that honestly should be separated.
People today are mixing them together, right? Because morals, what is ethical to you, and your morals should be two separate things. If I had to pick one to recommend, Action or Son of Kal-El,
I'm going Action.
I am torn between the two. I love them both, and I'm not a Superman fan. I love Peter Tomasi's run, but other than that, there are only a handful of Superman stories that I've enjoyed. Other than Tomasi's run, Super Sons doesn't count. Death of Superman, All-Star Superman, Secret Origin is great. Man of Tomorrow is fantastic. Man and Superman was okay.
Man of Tomorrow, that's by Jeff Johns, right?
Mm-hmm. I love Jeff Johns as a Superman. I love Secret Origin. That was great.
It just depends on
American Alien was great.
Yeah, it just depends on whether you would want an established Superman or an up-and-coming Superman. Because John, for a while, was Superboy, and he kind of filled that sidekick role, but this is him coming into the role as Superman.
I would say if you're looking for more of a breath of fresh air and a new take, I would go with the Kal-El role, because we're gonna see how John is gonna be the new hero of Earth. Also, I feel like if you like Invincible, if you read that, I feel like you're gonna get a lot of John in that, a lot of comparisons there. But if you just want a lot of action and you like a lot of space, you like that sci-fi, Superman kind of stepping into a role he's not really used to, I would say do that, because you're going to get Superman mixed with a little Conan and a great world-building story over there. So you're getting the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I say screw it, spend your money, it's worth it. and drop a Batman book. But
you do have more to catch up on with Action Comics.
Right. I would say if you haven't read any of them, Sonic LL, I would say is easier because you're 2 issues in. Or what you can do is you can trade weight. If you have a DC Infinite, you can just read it there because they would be at the point where they're just starting to talk to each other. But other than that, I don't know. I'm torn. They're both great stories. Philip is a great friend of the show, so obviously I'm going to keep reading it. Not only that, it's a great story, but that's really my recommendation. What speaks to you? Am I frozen?
Yeah.
Am I frozen or are you frozen? Which one of us is frozen? Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. All right. My internet has been really stupid the past couple days. Am I good now?
You're good. Was I good?
Yeah. It was buffering on my end. I couldn't really hear anybody. I couldn't see anything either. Like both our screens went black. So that was on my end.
Okay. Brandon.
Yeah. Bryce is showing up frozen.
Okay. My bad, y'all.
But now that we're back, let's move over from Superman to something I've wanted to keep talking about for a while, but I haven't been caught up, and that is Star Wars. You start with Darth Vader. All good here. Thank you, Phil.
Perfect.
Awesome. So Darth Vader. Okay.
I'm always good, brother.
Let me first say this. This issue was good. This issue I would even say was really good. I would say was a solid issue.
Yes, let me interrupt you. If you guys like our show, if you guys like Weekly Wrap Up, you can do us a favor. A great way to support us even more, you want to take it a step further, is to tell your friends to tune in here and hang out with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay? I'm not saying share it on your stories, chain it to everybody, but say, hey, how about you tune into this show or catch the replay? That really does mean a lot to us, right? And we can build a community here on the show where we just come here, hang out, talk about weekly comic books. That's a great way to help out both of us because we get friends in here, we get new people, and we just have a great time talking about the books that we love.
For sure, for sure. But yeah, so this was actually a solid.
There he goes. So what he was trying to say was Darth Vader is a great book. Okay? Darth Vader by Greg Pak. Art is by Rafael Iencio. And we are dealing with Ochi. We are dealing with Boku. And we are dealing with Vader, kind of dealing with the both of them. Because Vader wants Boku to outbid Jabba. He said, well, you're not going to, but you can kind of just screw around with it. Okay? Ochi is kind of trying to problem solve everything. We learned that Boku is working for the Crimson Dawn, which is someone that Vader doesn't like. Because Vader just had something for Amelia Clark. I meant Kira. But, I mean, I have something for Amelia Clark. That's a different story. But we're learning about that, and we're learning more about Boku's character. We're learning more about Ochi and how he's able to problem solve and navigate. Bye, Bryce. But if you guys are still here, I guess it's just me right now. Bryce will be joining us back, hopefully in a little bit, maybe through his phone. But this is just a really big action sequence that we got going on here. And yeah, it was a great book. It was kind of lackluster, though. If you've been reading the Star Wars title, I would say this is the weakest issue so far. However, it's still a great book. It's just a tie-in. I don't think Ochi and Boku are going to be main characters that are going to stay with us for a very long time because they're working for Vader, and Vader can just kill him like that. Vader really doesn't feel for anyone else. But we're going forward. We're going to be dealing with a bunch of Crimson Dawn people. Big fight next issue, so we have that to look forward to. It's good to see Ancio still sticking with this book. I got this cover by David Nakayama. I loved it. And then the other story that was tied to that was Dr. Aphra, issue number 13 by Alyssa Wong. I couldn't tell you who the artist was because I don't remember it because Marvel doesn't put their credits on the front page anymore. But we're just dealing with her situation with a matchstick, I believe. So if you guys are liking the Dr. Aphra book, you're obviously reading it. If you're not reading the War of the Bounty Hunters tie-ins, I would say now's a good time to stop because they're not really tying in at this point. They're going into their other tales. But another book that I did want to talk about is Amazing Fantasy number 2. So if you guys were watching the show last week, Kari Andrews was here. And he was kind of teasing about this issue along with the second. So we're on the island. The whole premise of this book is when you think of Captain America, what do you think of? World War II Captain America, Spider-Man, Teenage Spider-Man, Black Widow, obviously her in the Red Room, right? So all of these characters, these three characters got to this mysterious island, and they're each in their own kind of tribe, okay? So we have Spider-Man, who is with his Uncle Ben with a bunch of Indians, and then we have like native Indians, and then we have Natasha Romanoff, we have Natasha, who is with this king who's kind of pushing this story forward. And then we have Cap, who's with these orcs, and he's kind of making his way through the jungle. So we have different aspects of this land kind of all coming together for an invasion that's yet to happen. We have like a little bit of a Watcher storm at the end that's teasing the next issue, which was a really cool Easter egg because there's like the storm is coming. But we're learning about where these characters are and the tensions that are building. Kari Andrews is drawing and writing this book, and it really feels like Darwin Cook. Okay, so if you guys like Darwin Cook, this book is for you. It really does feel like DC's New Frontier, honestly, but this is amazing fantasy. So you're getting a lot of mystical qualities. The world building is great. The layouts are great. Hey, what is going on? Look who's back. I finished Darth Vader.
You finished Darth Vader? That's cool. I mean, it was
other books, and we're talking about amazing fantasy right now. So Bryce comes in, and now the views are back up. Now I know why they're here. But anyway, I love the moments between Peter Parker and Uncle Ben because this is Spider-Man as like a witty teenager. I think that was so fun to read, and it was so much like, wow, we're reading Silver Age with Darwin Cook pencils. So guys, don't sleep on this book. Make sure you're picking it up because you're going to see Kari Andrews on this show. You guys never know what's coming out of this show. So be sure to read it. You get a lot of dragons, right? So for Kari to draw a lot of dragons, for him to draw this world, for him to do all the colors, right? To do everything himself, except for the letters, is fantastic. And the way that he's able to shift his art just shows his dynamic as a storyteller to the max. Okay?
About to go check the router again.
So make sure you guys are picking up this book. It is a fantastic read, 100%.
All right. Sounds good, man. Yeah, Amazing Fantasy's been a great book. I haven't gotten to read issue 2 yet, but I'm looking forward to checking it out.
Can you ask our chat to hit them likes? Guys are likely to respond to a beautiful horse. I think that is probably the same. Yeah, I would agree. So after Amazing Fantasy, I'd like to talk about Wolverine for a hot minute. Wolverine is by Ben Percy. Art is by Adam Kubert. And we are kind of getting the story. So after the Hellfire Gala, right, the Marauder got taken over at the end of it. So Wolverine was sent to investigate what happened because he is the best tracker in comics. We just going to remove him for a hot minute until his internet kind of kicks back in. So Wolverine is a great tracker. We know this. So he was sent to investigate, which leads him to realize that there are some Iraqi pirates that hijacked the ship. And that is tied to Salem, who we know from the Ten of Swords event that Wolverine battled him, lost. Oh, well, but Wolverine is kind of looking out for vengeance, looking out to see what's going on. So we're learning all of this while Wolverine is talking to one of the Iraqi pirates. We're learning about Salem's origin story on Araco. Okay, so we're learning more about this character, and eventually it leads Wolverine to go back to Krakoa, look inside his room, and really find out. He's like, oh, wait, I got tricked. Because like the weapons that Salem left in his room were fakes. And Wolverine is like, okay, yeah, now screw you, motherfucker. I'm coming at you. Okay, so this book was great. The layouts were great. I feel like it was a very verbose book for Ben Percy. I'm not going to lie. But it's still been a great read. I've been reading all the X-Men books religiously, so I'm very much invested in where they all are. So kind of this book was, I wouldn't say this book was as good as the previous one. I liked Wolverine better with the vampires. I'm excited to see his showdown with Salem, so I would say stick on that. I wouldn't drop it just because the one book was overly verbose, but you get pages like this, and it's just fantastic. Just Adam Kubert shows why he's a living legend. Ben Percy knows how to get dark and gritty, and this book just has a lot of blood, a lot of violence, and just a lot of over-the-top Wolverine, okay? So for Wolverine fans, this is a book for you. If you're not a Wolverine fan, I would say there are better arcs that you can read in the series that can get you better involved into the character. Obviously, you have to know what's going on in the book to understand this story. So you would have to understand what's going on throughout the X crossovers with Salem and Ten of Swords. So you'd have to read that first. You couldn't really just skip it over. But it's exciting. Ben is having a lot of fun in this world that is Krakoa, and he's having a lot of fun playing with Wolverine or like kind of messing around with everything. Before we get to the pick of the week, which for me was Spider-Man Life Story Annual, I do want to give a shout out to 2 other books that came out this week, one of which being Thor number 16 by Donny Cates and I believe Michelle Bandini. So we are dealing... Ben Percy's been falling off a little bit in the last issues of X-Force and Wolverine. I agree. I feel like after the vampire arc, it kind of lost its footing a little bit, but that's not to say that it won't rebound. I would say he's going to build up to a great payoff simply because I feel like when Ben Percy takes a step back, eventually he's going to take 3 leaps forward in his storytelling. So I have a lot of faith that this book is going to bounce back and be great, but right now it's just very verbose. Just stick with it. I wouldn't say jump off if you're trade waiting it. I guess you're just going to get all in one. I guess that's better off for you, but this has definitely been a great book to read. Thor by Donny Cates, Michelle Bandini. So Thor's having nightmares of Thanos, as we saw in the second print covers that are now going for a lot of money. So basically Thor's having dreams that Thanos is kicking his ass with a Mjolnir with Infinity Stones. So Endgame just hit home, really. So he wakes up, he's telling Valkyrie about all of this. And I love Johnny Cage is having fun with it because he's able to like go order a hot dog when Valkyrie's like, yeah, this is no good. And just change his dialect to English instead of like the Odin son Thor. That was horrible. I'm so sorry y'all had to hear that. But then there's like a little bit of a misfit. So Jane Foster changes into Valkyrie. Thor didn't bring his suit, so he just like picks up like a little pole, starts kicking ass. But then he gets called to Asgard by his raven, and he thought it was his mother. Turns out it was his father, Odin, being a dick because Odin's always a dick. I'm gonna get in my thoughts in just a little bit after we recap, but they fight this monster, and Angela and Freya show up. And Thor's like, oh shit just got real. But I didn't really like this issue. I thought this issue with Thor was a big old miss. Just because this is not my art style. I don't think Michelle Bandini did her best work. It felt very rushed. I loved the dialogue. However, it didn't really do much for me. I think everyone was just hyped up about the nightmares that Thor was building with them. Just because we got a name drop of the Black Winter, and we got a name drop of Thanos and what's been going on with that Infinity Gauntlet. Hi, Bryce. Welcome back to the show.
I think we got everything figured out now.
But I like seeing Angela back. I think Donny Cates loves playing with toys. He loves playing with characters because Donny Cates is a big kid in a sandbox. He's literally the equivalent of Stan's little sandbox. Just playing with his action figures. No, you did not get everything figured out, but that's okay.
I did.
No, you're still a little fuzzy, but we'll keep rolling with it.
Is it my mic?
No, it's your face. It's your connection. But this issue didn't really do it for me.
Oh, it's my face.
Yeah, you're lagging like crazy. Like I said, you guys, this issue was not really it. I know it's going to come back later, but story-wise, it was a quick read. I didn't enjoy it that much. But knowing this story, it will come back to be a hit. So obviously I'm not dropping Thor. Spider-Man Life Story, Annual 1 by Chip Zdarsky, art by Mark Bagley. This is the last book, or 2 books that I want to talk about. Talk about this, I'm going to talk about Strange Academy. This book is a love letter to James Jonah Jameson and kind of his tales through Spider-Man, because we saw how Spider-Man really aged up throughout the decades. We didn't really see how James Jonah Jameson was dealing with the menace of society and all that. So it starts out, he ends up going to jail because he committed a crime, right? Scorpion came in, and it turned out Scorpion ratted him out, so he got arrested by Captain Gwen Stacy himself. So we're just seeing James Jonah Jameson age through prison and live with his decisions, trying to convince people that Spider-Man's a menace. He destroys his relationship with his son when his son says, hey, Spider-Man saved me. And he was like, no, he didn't, blah, blah, blah. But we do get a nice moment between James Jonah Jameson and Norman because they both don't like Spider-Man. And it turns out James lived his life in hatred of Spider-Man. When he got out of jail, he ended up doing good. Peter called him through prison in 1978, so that means we're kind of at the end of the Jerry Conway era. But again, James Jonah Jameson is like, no, I don't like this, right? He doesn't understand that Peter and Spider-Man are the same people. And we just see James Jonah Jameson age up, and we see him and coming in to really defeat Scorpion at the end, all the way in 2001, all the way to all the way there. So I thought this book was great. This book was my pick of the week. Mark Bagley is my favorite Spider-Man artist. I was a huge fan of Life's Story, so I very much enjoyed it. We ended up seeing James Jonah Jameson's funeral. We see Peter show up, and we see his wife there as well. But it turns out that he wrote a eulogy, kind of talking about his experience with Spider-Man and how he was wrong. So that was kind of where we left that. I thought this issue was very great. This is a very good payoff to James Jonah Jameson. Chip Zdarsky understands his characters. He's very good at capturing emotion. Mark Bagley's pencils, again, he's been drawing Spider-Man forever, so he's very good at switching up his styles, changing up his dynamic with that. And then we have Strange Academy, number 12, which we've had all 12 issues written and drawn by the same creative team, which is fantastic. We rarely see this anymore. It's by Scotty Young, artist by Humberto Ramos. And basically what we've been dealing with is Calvin has gotten in contact with, it's like a symbiote, but it's like a magical symbiote. Okay. It is called Mr. Misery. So that kind of blended in with Calvin, made him do some very bad things with breaking Toth into a million pieces, which we saw previously. We come back to realize everything going on. Brother Voodoo, all the kids, they try to fight it, try to get Calvin out, get him safe. But Desi, who's able to turn herself into kind of like a Mephisto, she's like a devil living in hell. So she was able to consume a lot of that negative energy because she lives with it. She's able to contain it and bring Calvin to safety. The pencils in this are fantastic. Humberto Ramos, this is his style, guys. This is like perfect Humberto Ramos. This is the best Teen Titans-esque book that you're going to have in a while. Yeah, Bryce is still not here. But I really love learning about these characters, learning about these dynamics. I would say it's good for kids-ish. I would say good for kids, maybe 8 and older. So if you want to get them into this is a great book to get invested into. Not like invested like money-wise, invested in like reading, because these are 4. But I loved how Brother Voodoo, I loved how he was able to maintain his role in this. And I love that their relationship with Calvin was very accepting. I know, poor Bryce. But it happens. He'll be back next week. I think he's just been having internet issues today. But Calvin is just a great person. He never meant to do any of this. He has a great moment with Toth. They come back, they hug it out. And we just get a lot of these moments to end the arc. It was very heartfelt. It was very bombastic. I love this book. So I highly recommend it. It has ended its 2nd arc, you guys. So you guys can definitely pick it up and trade. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a 12-issue hardcover. But it's Scotty Young, who is fantastic. He's a great storyteller. What is up, Carlito? How are you doing, brother? But anyway, you guys, that is the show for today. I know Bryce was going to talk about some more books that he read, but unfortunately he was having internet issues. Thank you guys for sticking through that. You guys are the real MVPs. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Stay tuned for more. Stay tuned for more guest creators coming on the show. Stay tuned for more Creators Corner. Got a huge lineup coming on. Like I said, Rom V, Terry Dodson, Matt Fraction, to say the least, you guys. But Carlito, there is always the rewind, my brother. There's always the rewind. Thank God for rewind. But Bryce will be on chatting with the comic community on Wednesday, so make sure you guys do that. I believe Travis dropped the link anyway. Travis, drop that link so we can all subscribe to you, and stay tuned for Bryce over there. Also, you guys can find me doing whatever archives are going to drop on Friday, Tag Team Thursday. We got a lot of content to look forward to, you guys. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, and we will catch you guys. Is this the end? Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. But there's always next week. We can wrap up every Sunday now at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure y'all tell your friends. Archives dropping on Friday. I think we're going to be talking about Thor. Okay, Volume 1 by Donny Cates. If you guys want us to do any reviews for you guys, make sure you guys leave that in the comments below. We just dropped Daredevil the other day. So make sure you guys go run that. That has gotten an extreme amount of support and love. So thank you guys so much for that. I appreciate all you guys. Catch you guys next time.